It's been 99 years and Sunday dinner since I've had the opportunity to get these growing hands of mine in my oldest born baby girl's head. And since these are the adventures of a temporarily out of work wife and mother and I ain't got no job, I had time. And since she's working full time, she hasn't had the time to properly take care of her hair since I turned the reins over to her years ago, and therefore she was responsible for her own hair. She's clearly not been doing what she should. This hair was mangled and tangled and matted and a few other adjectives that I can't think of right now. So we started this process with a nice pre-poo using a fairly slippery deep conditioner, and I parted her hair in 7 sections to make detangling this hair even easier. And if you know me, then you already know I used my unbrush to make this job a lot easier. According to her, she hasn't actually combed or brushed through her hair in several months because she's been wearing her hair in a high puff. And all that requires is that she sprays some water, some moisturizer of some kind, maybe some gel, slide it on up with one of the Kink's hair twists, puff it out, and voila, hair is done. But you know what happens when you don't actually comb or brush your hair. All of the dead and shed hairs are tangled up with the hair that's still attached to your roots, and you get a whole lot of hair loss, or at least it will appear that way. And because she didn't take the kind of care of her hair that she should have, she needed a really, really good trim. So I gave her one, but I didn't trim as much as needed to come off because she can't handle it. Her mental health cannot withstand too much hair being cut off. If I can get her on and committed to a hair care regimen, then we can get those split ends trimmed as that hair grows out and get her hair back healthy and flourishing again. She has the most beautiful natural curls and coils, but her hair is also very fine and thin. So she requested a 2-strand twist style, similar to what I've been wearing, but we're gonna add some Marley hair to give it a little more thickness and help it to last a little bit longer. So that way her hair will be touchless for at least 6 to 8 weeks. So once I got it all detangled and I got that deep conditioner in for the pre-poo, I let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I made sure that I rinsed it thoroughly. And I had to shampoo it about 2 or 3 times. I can't remember just how many, in order to get it all the way clean, because even with that pre-poo completely rinsed out, that hair was not sudsing like it needed to because it was dirty, just like she said it was. And this is a judgment-free zone, so not too much of my baby. If you get small braids, then you already know you can leave those braids in for 2 or 3 months without washing your hair too. You might cleanse your scalp with a little astringent, but other than that, your hair itself is definitely not being washed. And if you do wash your braids, there is no need for you to notify us of that, because this ain't you and this ain't that. Keep it cute or keep it mute now. Once it was all clean, we went in to oil that scalp with some Mielle rosemary mint oil, which is great for stimulating hair growth by stimulating the scalp and feeding it well. Then we went into deep conditioning and using the Mielle rosemary mint conditioner, which I applied by sectioning the hair into 6 sections. And I applied it with my fingers and just doing some finger detangling because, of course, there was still some dead hair, some shed hair tangled up in the hair, and I wanted to be able to get that as loose as possible with my hands before going in with the deep conditioning, strengthening hair mask by Mielle, also in rosemary mint, and then going in with my unbrush. And of course, I put it in the Bantu knots, and we put one of those grocery bags on her head because ain't nobody paying for no conditioning caps. And we let that sit for about 20 to 30 minutes before we rinsed that out and moved on to the next step, which was to moisturize the hair. I went in with a 3-in-1 serum, also by Mielle, the Mango and Tulsi. And then I went in with the leave-in conditioner, also by Mielle, but this one is the pomegranate and honey. And once I had all of that evenly distributed in the hair using the unbrush, I went back through her hair with a fine tooth comb. Because her hair is fine, that allowed me to ensure that the product was properly distributed, as well as remove any lingering shed hair that might still be kind of tangled up in her beautiful coils. To keep her hair tamed, I wrapped it back up in BN2 knots until I was ready to blow dry each of the 6 sections. I made sure I got the hair all the way dry, but I wasn't as focused on getting it completely stretched like I might if I was doing a flat iron. This was solely for the purposes of seeing where the hair was split, how far up it was split, and being sure that I was trimming it appropriately. Since she wears her hair in its natural state, there was no need to cut it into any kind of style or make it even or do any of those things. I was solely trying to trim at least a 1/4 inch of split ends, with the understanding that if she sticks to the regimen that we agreed to, we'd be able to trim off all of that dead hair. As her hair grows a 1/4 of an inch, we'll trim a 1/4 of an inch and we'll have all that dead hair off. There's probably about 2 inches of breakage there, and she was not too happy about that. And you'll see when I started trimming just how unhappy she was. Poor baby. But when we got it all blown out, she saw just how much length she did retain despite how poorly she'd been taking care of that hair. And she was pleased with that. I also used that rosemary mint pomade to oil to moisturize the hair once it was trimmed, and wrapped it back up and clipped it. BN2 knots wouldn't work because those ends are trimmed now. And as I continued to move up her hair, you begin to see more and more damage. The hair is almost in a slant, like a slide. And as I explained this to her, she became more and more upset. And the only reason why I'm sharing any of that is because I hope that we can document her hair growth journey so that she can see just how far she's come from, how far she's come to, and not do this again. As much as I prefer not to be in the hairstyling business, I would absolutely prefer for my children's hair to be healthy and flourishing and for them to be happy with it. And if that means that I got to go back into my bag of hair care tricks in order to accomplish that and help them to feel good about themselves again, then I guess that'll be added to my list of things to do while on this temporarily out of work wife and mom adventure. Because Lord knows I'd do just about anything to see this girl with this smile on her face like this here. Look at my baby girl. Aww. She made me a mommy almost 28 years ago. Can you believe that? Lord Jesus. God takes care of babies and fools. I know that much. Love you, Monty Bonnie.